Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Womenpreneur Asia. This is Krista Gun, the host and creator of Womenpreneur Asia, and I'm delighted that you are here with me. If this is your first time listening to Womenpreneur Asia, remember to check out the other interviews from Season 1 and 2. And of course, if you want to know my story, listen to episode 14 of Season 1. If you've been following our podcast, welcome back. You're like a good friend accompanying me on this journey of uncovering stories of Asian women entrepreneurs in Asia. This season is going to be spectacular because I have the pleasure of interviewing even more amazing women that I've been introduced to. These women are making strides in their businesses and rocking the entrepreneur landscape. So exciting. This is why I started Womenpreneur Asia. I want to listen and learn from inspiring yet down-to-earth women in business across Asia, and in this process, I'm also recording all the fantastic wisdom from these women. Many had a dream, an idea, an inspiration, an aspiration, just like me. I had a dream for a podcast in 2019, and by the end of this third season, I would have produced 40 episodes. I couldn't even have imagined that would have been possible when I presented this idea in Hawaii. As always, this episode is made possible by Reebok Studio. I want to kick off the season with a Japanese entrepreneur named Yuka Imanishi. Yuka is the founder and CEO of CURIO Japan Incorporated. Yuka and I spoke about her business that first started as a B2C business and soon after also became a B2B business. She's one person who loves travel, adventures, and CURIO, the name of her business, comes from curiosity. It is no wonder that her business is about fostering cultural exchange between international students who come to Japan for studies, as well as creating multicultural understanding for Japanese companies that wish to hire employees that are not Japanese. But as we know, the pandemic happened, and a lot of what she was doing as a business came to a halt. The international students couldn't come to Japan, and Japanese companies stopped hiring for the moment while waiting out the uncertainty. But this didn't stop Yuka at all. This is one indefatigable woman who never let circumstances stop her from doing what she wants. I shall not reveal what happened next, but it demonstrates that her entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well. Have fun with this episode. Welcome to the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, Yuka.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yuka, where are you physically located?
I'm located in Tokyo, Japan.
Okay, and how has it been as a work day for you or as a business day?
Business day, well, it's been a hectic week, and so it's Friday today. So thank God it's Friday.
Yes, I sometimes feel that too. Like it's a good thing, that it's a Friday. The weekend is coming around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we get started, tell us a little bit about who you are. Who is Yuka?
All right. Okay. So who is Yuka? All right. So I was born and raised in central part of Japan, which is called Gifu Prefecture. And I moved to Tokyo to start university. And to attend university, I moved to Tokyo more than 20 years ago, and I have lived in Tokyo ever since. And after graduating from university, I started my career as a marketing expert. And I worked for like 4 companies in the past as a marketing / communication expert. And after 4 companies, I became independent. And I now have my own company, which I started in 2016. So my expertise is in the marketing / communication. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I have been running my business. And I have learned a lot through my through my own business, which I love. Sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's really fun. So I think that's who I am.
Okay. And what about family? You have family with you in Tokyo?
I have a husband and a son, And we have been married over 20 years by now, long time. And my son is going to be 15 soon.
Wow, that's I didn't expect that. I thought you'd probably say my son is very young. Maybe
He's a teenager.
Wow. So it means that that you are free to do a lot of the things that you want to do now that your son is
that's so
older.
true. Yes, right. So after he graduated from elementary school, he started junior high school. So I have a lot of freedom, like free time, because he's on his own most of the time. So I started going to MBA class. I started the MBA class last year, and I'm on the second year of English MBA in one of the Japanese national universities. So
wow,
that's something I started.
So you're busy. Besides running your own business, you're also doing your MBA.
Yeah. I don't know why I got into this, but
that must be quite a bit on your plate, family,
true,
business, and
a lot
studies
on my plate. Yeah. But the thing is, I like to be on the go as like always, and I like to keep moving. So I kind of enjoy. But with my company, with my family, with my MBA, and sometimes I do pro bono as well. So once in a few months, I get overwhelmed. But every time I'm overwhelmed, I kind of get over it. So I think I'm becoming stronger. I feel. I hope.
That's good, because I think women tend to do a lot. I see that when across Asia, I meet a lot of different women that they tell me that they themselves take on a lot besides family and all that.
Right.
So now that we know a little bit about Yuka, Yuka, tell us about your business, which I think is really fascinating.
Thank you. Okay, so my company's mission is to transform diversity into power. And my company wants to contribute to the globalization of the Japanese society. Because in terms of global competitiveness, we believe that Japan is pretty much behind compared to other developed countries. So we want to we want to promote globalization of Japan through our business. And what we do is that we have educational programs to expose young Japanese people and Japanese business people to diversity, different cultures, and different languages. Those educational programs. And also we introduce international talents for hiring to Japanese enterprises, companies. So we have both B2C educational programs for general public, and also global talent recruiting service for companies. And through those services, we are trying to enhance the influence of Japan in the global stage.
Okay. And how did that business idea come about for you in the very beginning, right? So
right.
We have to take you back to 2016.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and how did that beautiful idea of that business came about?
Thank you. Because I worked for international companies in the past, like German company, Korean company, and French company. And I worked with many American companies when I was working for companies. So, and I worked in many projects as well with multinationals. And I saw many Japanese business people struggle to deal with those international people because of the lack of knowledge about different cultures or like different languages. And sometimes they don't know how to interact with those and how to communicate with those international talents. So I always thought it was a pity because many Japanese business people, they're very capable. They can do a lot. But because of the lack of understanding of different cultures, diversity, and because that they are not used to working with people with very different backgrounds, they couldn't do well. So I thought it was a pity. So what was missing, I thought. And I realized that maybe we should try to expose children when they're growing up to different cultures and diversity and different languages on a regular basis, so that they get familiarized, they get familiar with different people with different backgrounds. So that's what I thought when I was working for those international projects. And I looked for those educational programs in the market, but there was none. So, well, maybe I will start my own then. That's how I started my own business, actually.
Okay. And in the beginning, when you first started your business, what was the market response like towards that idea?
Right. The first service we launched was the matching service between international students living in Japan and families with kids, which are looking for English tutors or tutors who can teach subjects in English. So we have the matching platform for those two international students and families with kids. And it was very well received because we never had a service engaging international students in the way that we do now.
Okay.
So some media, like national media, picked up, and it was introduced on their website and papers, newspapers, and then the demand was increasing rapidly.
And you're a marketing communication person.
Yes, right. Yeah, that's what I'm good at. So
it helps, right?
Yeah, it helps. Even though there's a lot more than that when you're running a company.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I started my MBA program, to learn more about growing and running business.
And are there any interesting stories from that service that you provided?
Right. Well, we needed international students, right, to start this service, and we visited so many university campuses to recruit international students. And once we got the PR coverage, media coverage, the inquiries and demand never stopped. Like the emails kept coming, and we didn't have enough supply. Supply meaning international students.
Yeah.
Right. So we had to go to Tokyo University and the other prominent universities every day, and we ate lunch there to look for international students. So we didn't have any strong connections. Now we do, but when we first started, we didn't have any strong connections with those international students. So I was like a university student again, going to campus every day, and then looking for some friends from abroad. So that was when I look back, it was very interesting and fun.
So you must have eaten a lot of campus lunches.
Yeah, definitely.
But were there any memorable stories from that service that you provided, which I think is unique in many ways, because it's not just the Japanese benefiting from that, but it's also vice versa, right?
That's so true. Yes. International students living in Japan, they appreciate our service because they get to interact with Japanese families, and they get to know real Japanese lifestyle by mingling with those families. So we are appreciated by Japanese families as well as international students. So that's what I like about my own service. And also, there was one Indian student who started tutoring teenage boy, and then they continued the lessons for 4 years. Right after we started the service, their family started using our service, and we introduced this Indian student, and they were together for like 4 years. So it was a very long time. So he was a freshman when I introduced him to the family, and he graduated from university just recently, and they discontinued the service because he started working for a company. But seeing those relationship between international student and their family grow, and they're like family members now. So it's really rewarding, I think.
Yeah. And you're doing very, very well in terms of fostering intercultural relations.
Yes. That's what we are trying to do.
Yeah. So based on that, and I know that based on our previous conversation, that is not the only service that you offer.
Right. That's true. Through our first service, we had to have a lot of international students, right? And we met about 1,000 international students so far. And we realized through those interviews with them, we realized that they want to work in Japan after they graduate, after they finish their study. But they are having a hard time to find the right jobs for them, because the Japanese job hunting system for students is pretty unique. And it's quite difficult for international students to follow those rules of job hunting. So we realized that they're struggling. And so we wanted to help them to find the right match for them. So we got the license as a recruiter about 2 years ago, and we started introducing those capable international talents to Japanese companies or international companies in Japan. Okay. So we are kind of matching now between international students and companies.
You were mentioning that the job hunting in Japan is not that easy for international graduates, right?
Right.
Is it because it's complicated, or is it because there are many steps to it, or
it's
unique?
It's pretty complicated. It's difficult for Japanese too, but many companies start hiring at the same time, and they have to go through all these process, like of course the application forms, and they have to take tests and like many interviews, and everything is in Japanese pretty much.
I see.
The language.
Yeah.
So even though increasing number of Japanese companies are willing to hire international talents, because Japanese population is decreasing, they need to find talents somewhere else, right? But still, they're struggling to adapt to global standards. I mean, those Japanese companies.
So now you come in to offer them, I would say, an easier way to get hired.
Yes. Right. I mean, we don't work with many companies, those like which are willing to work with international talents. And they don't have to be like super big companies. Sometimes they're ventures, startups, right? But they're willing to work with international talents. And so what we are trying to do is to find a good match between companies and international students. So we do the hearings, and we do interviews with the students and also companies, so that we can find the good match, right? And also, of course, recruiting is one thing, but after they join those companies, they have to work, right? And they have to produce good performance. And for the company, they have to encourage them to be better or to stay.
Or to motivate them.
To motivate, yes, of course, to motivate them. So to do that, we created this corporate training program, so that that will facilitate their development of human talent, like international talents. So in addition to recruiting, we offer now the corporate training for for managing diversity and for managing international talents as well.
So it seems to me that every step of the way you have responded to what the market wants.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Right. I mean, I see the needs and I see the demands, and then I try to answer those.
And then this has also brought in naturally the customers, because if you're responding to them, it means the customers are already out there somewhere.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but then, of course, then as we all know, the pandemic happened. And how has the pandemic affected your business?
Well, it was tough. I mean, it's still tough because of course, Japanese government closed the border, right, to many countries. So those international students who went back to their home countries, they could not come back to resume their study in Japan because of the closed border. And also the number of international students coming to Japan decreased due to pandemic. Like complications, and then everything got really slow, and they couldn't, get all the proper documents and so on. So the number of international students was was less than usual years, and also the students who went back to their home country, they could not come back, and also the families which were accepting international students as tutors, as sitters, they were hesitant to invite any strangers to their homes. So the sales-wise, it really dropped sharply since the pandemic happened. And also in terms of the hiring from companies, because they can't see what's going to happen to the business, right? It's really difficult to predict.
Yeah.
So they don't want to invest a lot.
There's a lot of uncertainty.
A lot of uncertainty, yeah. So many companies stopped hiring, at least, halted for some time, hiring, especially international talents. So business-wise, it was very tough.
But you're not one to sit still and and let it be, right? Knowing Yuka.
That's true.
Yuka's probably thinking of something to do.
Well, we
what
thought
did Yuka
do? We thought we have to do, we thought we can do something online. We can do something new online, leveraging the network we have built over the years, right? So we were thinking, what can we do to promote globalization and diversity management? And we came up with this idea of doing, but connecting local kitchens with Japanese families, and then do the online cooking, live online cooking with local kitchens. So we decided to experiment that idea. And we started the pilot program last year. And we connected like French kitchen or Chad in Africa, and Argentina and Nepal. And there are many students who used to study and who used to work with us, and they are now back home. So I can ask those, former students to help us. And what they do is that they cook their local food, very simple, very easy to make. But at the same time, they will take a walk and show us around their house. And also they will tell us about the culture or language they use and the social background. And it's not only about cooking, it's about intercultural communication and understanding different cultures. That kind of aspect is included in the lesson, in the online lesson. So we did the pilot, and it was well received. So we started to do it officially from this year, and we have been doing that in the last 6 months, I think.
Does it mean that the in your way, the Japanese families also cook along?
Yeah. Yes. Adults join, families join, parents and kids join, and they cook together.
Oh, so just say someone is cooking a dish from Nepal. Mm-hmm. And so these Japanese families who are watching are also cooking, but on this
they're
side,
in the kitchen.
In their own kitchen.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, wow. They're in their own kitchen, and it's connected live online. And we will ask them to prepare all the ingredients beforehand, and then we cook together and we eat
together
at the end. Yeah. And we exchange comments and feedbacks, and it's really fun.
Oh, that is really an interesting spin. I mean, the fact that they couldn't come over, the international students couldn't come over, and nothing could be done, but you put a virtual twist to the cultural exchange. Wow.
Yes. And even after the pandemic has settled down, I think the need for this very casual online travel around the world, I think there still will be good demand for that even after the pandemic. So I will try to develop this service.
Okay. So wow. So is that all you're doing? I'm sure there's more. I'm sure you're doing more. Tell us about that pro bono.
Right.
Work that you're doing.
Sure. In the last 2 years, I have been doing the pro bono. I am one of the directors at the committee, the organization called One Young World Japan. And One Young World is a global platform that that helps young leaders all over the world tackling with SDGs and social issues. And we are the platform, so we engage them and we encourage them to interact with each other, and we help them sometimes to start their businesses, right? But young leaders, mostly under 30, we annually have a summit, and each year the host country is different. So we have been doing this for 11 years by now. It all started in London, and it's being called Young Davos, like younger version of Davos conference, because we gather once a year as a summit, right? And then over 2,000 young leaders from 196 countries gather every year. And last year it was canceled because of the pandemic, but we had the Munich summit actually this month. And I'm going to Munich. Yep.
Physical, right?
Physically, yes. Yeah. For the first time in 2 years.
You're traveling.
We are traveling. Yeah. And this year it's going to be hybrid, online and offline. So it's going to be smaller scale. But next year, we are having the summit in Tokyo. And it's going to be full-fledged full-scale summit. So the all directors and staffs and I have been working towards the Tokyo Summit now.
It seems to me that you really have a passion for youth and the young people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, developing young leaders and help them to make their dreams come true, so on. Yeah, I'm very passionate about that. I mean, as an adult, I think it's our responsibility to help young leaders. So yeah, whatever I can do, I'll try.
Okay. So now I want to turn back the clock a little bit and get into a little bit of your past before you started your business, because you've told us about your business and what it does and who it helps, right? But before that, you had a very illustrious career path, I must say. And you were flying all over the world and doing many things. So tell us a little bit about that time. And did that time actually influence what you're doing right now? I think it probably does, right?
Yeah, it does. First, I started my career at Sony Music Entertainment, music business, and I was assigned to international repertoire department. So I worked with international artists such as Mariah Carey or like Aerosmith or Jennifer Lopez. And then it sounds very glamorous, but in reality, it wasn't. I mean, you have to follow all these artists all over the world. And then sometimes they can be very demanding. Sometimes they can be very difficult, but you are supposed to accommodate all their needs. So sometimes I had to be on the business trip abroad 3 times a month, like New York, and then come back to Japan after 2 years, after 2 days, London, and so on. So physically, it was tough. And sometimes I felt very exhausted. And after 6 years working for Sony Music, I realized that I realized that it was pretty difficult to start a family in the music business because I was always traveling. And due to the time difference, I was like up 3:00 in the morning to do the conference call with New York or LA, right? So I was like, can I have a baby here? And I was married when I was working on music. So, but I wondered if I could start a family. And the answer was no. So I decided to move on. And I started another career in the cosmetic industry after music. And then it was a French cosmetic company, and I did marketing PR. And I had my son there, and I worked there for 7 years. It was very different from music, but it was very interesting. And then I moved to Korean conglomerate doing the e-commerce, and then German clothing lingerie company doing digital marketing. So those career I had before starting my own business.
So I know that from Sony Music, you jumped to, a totally unrelated industry, which is the skincare and cosmetic.
Yeah.
Was there any reason to jump from one music industry to something that was totally unrelated?
Right. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I thought it was good for me to have experiences in different industries, even though I was focusing on marketing, PR, communication. Sticking with one industry didn't really help, I thought, because you're going to be in the same industry forever. Right. Of course, you're going to be a super professional in that industry, but I wanted to be a little bit more like versatile and flexible. So instead of changing my roles as a marketer, I wanted to expand my visions, my experiences by working for different industry. And that's why I chose cosmetic industry. One of the reasons, because I love cosmetics. So I could so relate to the, to the needs of those cosmetics. So by women. So I was like, why not?
Okay. So that was a really strategic move, I would say.
Yes. And also because I was planning to have a child, I was looking for company that was friendly to working mothers. And cosmetic industries, they're, especially French cosmetic company, their headquarters, they had many working mothers. They are very understanding towards women with kids. So that's one of the reasons I chose. Yeah.
Okay. So it actually worked out for you in the end, because eventually you came to a point where you decided to start your own business.
Yes, that's true.
So now I wanted to ask you a little bit about your business again. Like, I know I know you're a marketing communications PR person, and when you first started your business, and I remember you said that you got coverage in the media, and that's how people got to know about what you did, right, and what you offered. But was that the one? I mean, was that the main way that you marketed yourself, or were there any other ways that you marketed your services in the early years?
And in the early years, actually, we haven't spent any money for advertisement. We haven't done any advertisement yet. Maybe we will this year, but so far we haven't spent any money on advertisement. So mainly through PR, media coverage, free media coverage, and also for the matching service for international students and families. It was word of mouth was really helpful. Every time we have new customers, when we ask how they got to know about us, they were like, well, a friend of mine has been using, and then we heard about your service. And then, so word of mouth was really, has been strong in terms of the marketing our service.
Were there any unusual creative things that you did in the early years?
Did we? Not really. The thing is, we are focusing on like Tokyo, Kanto area for this service. We are not going nationwide, because every family has different needs. So we kind of customize the lessons. So we don't have like fixed package or fixed manual for the students to write. So we have been approached by other companies for the franchise, and we considered that option before, but that means we have less control over our brand, over the quality of the lessons. So we decided not to expand a lot. And we don't need like thousands customers. We have more quality, even if the number is less, we want to stick with more quality lessons, quality relationship between students and families. So for that service, we don't really, have to advertise a lot to expand the clientele, because we already have enough.
Okay. So I didn't know that part about you. You customized it to the needs of the specific Japanese family.
Right. Yes, because there is a family a boy has been studying Arabic from an Egyptian student. And there have been families with the needs for French lessons, German lessons, or Italian lessons. So the needs are quite different. And sometimes, like junior high school students want to learn physics in English, right? And so some student wants to learn about space engineering in English. So that kind of, different needs we can adapt to.
Or even robotics and coding.
Yes, robotics, yes, coding. Because we have a variety of international students who major in those areas, right? Robotics and then programming and then space. So we can match those students with the needs of those families.
So can I say that you really didn't have any major challenges when you were starting out?
Oh, I had many challenges. It's just I'm forgetful.
So you choose to remember the good stuff, right?
Yeah. That's the key to continue your business. But well, we first started our company as 3 members. Right? We had like 3 founders. One guy and one lady and myself. But it didn't go well. So the guy, the man, left after a year or so because he had his like own job. He had his job, so it was very difficult for him to commit to the project. So he left. And last year, the co-founder, the other lady, left the company as well. So I'm now the only founder left in the company. I have my own staff, but as far as the founders are concerned, I am the only one left in the business. So I don't see that as a challenge, but a big change, I think, in a way, in the structure of the company.
How does it feel like to start off with 3 founders when it was 3 founders
Right.
in the business versus now that you are the main founder?
Right. I feel free now because I can decide whatever I want to. Right. I don't know if it's good or bad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes bad, of course. But working with others as a team, it's very helpful because you can brainstorm your ideas. And of course, you get comments and feedbacks from the co-founders all the time. But sometimes it's difficult to decide the direction. Sometimes we look at the different stuff, and then sometimes it's difficult to align, right? And also, I realized the level of passion, in a way, like how passionate you are about what you do. If the passion is not at the same level, it's kind of difficult to continue to work together as co-founders. So I think it's difficult to manage like many founders, CEOs, like co-CEOs in one company. So right now I feel very relieved, free, and of course I have all the responsibilities, but now I feel like I'm in control of everything. I am responsible for everything, and every decision I make, that comes back to me directly. So it's challenging, but I I think I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people are sometimes they have co-founders, and it can be challenging, right?
Yes.
If both parties are not aligned or agreeable in certain aspects, and you can debate and discuss, but
Right.
you don't come to a decision.
Yes.
So I think, I mean, I guess in different phases of your business,
Of course, yes. Yeah.
different types of people are
Yes.
needed. Yeah.
Yes. That's for sure.
If someone were to come to you and say, I want to start a business like yours, what kind of advice would you give to that younger person?
Right. I would say just start small and experiment first to see the needs, to understand what's needed, to know what's acceptable, what the market needs. So sometimes people want to wait until they're ready, until the product or until the service is ready. But the market changes rapidly. So when your products are ready, maybe they don't need them anymore.
That's true.
So just start small, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try and then learn from them and then develop. And then it's like agile development of like website but agile style. You're supposed to be flexible, agile, and then adapt to the needs, adapt to the market.
Was that how you started?
Yes, I did. Yeah. That's how I started. I called up like a few international students and asked them to do the tutoring and the sitting, and then, asked for feedbacks from families, that kind of thing. We tried. And we decided the prices and we started the programs. And this was step by step, but we started really small first. And that was very good, I think.
Yeah. I mean, looking at what you're doing right now, I think you've also evolved throughout the years. And
Yes.
From, providing a B2C, it became a B2B.
Yes.
And of course, now you're offering B2C and B2B and trade. And virtual cultural exchange.
Right. MBA as well.
Yeah, MBA as well.
And family. Pro bono. Right. And family. Right. Like, I am a very impatient person. I'm always on the go. I'm very impatient, and I don't really have time to reflect on myself or on the past. But once in a while, sometimes when I'm taking a bath or sometimes I'm taking a walk, when I look back the past few years, I realize, wow, I have done a lot to be where I am.
A lot.
I realized, oh wow, I evolved. I grew. I don't realize that because I don't do that reflection, very much. But once in a year, or I don't know, once in a while, I realized that, I evolved. And then I move on to be better.
So then I will have to ask you this question. What are you no longer afraid of?
No longer afraid of? Failures. I'm not afraid of failures as much as I was before, because if you don't fail, if you don't make mistakes, there are no learnings. So the fact that you are learning means that you are trying. And of course, if you try, you make mistakes. But before, I think I was afraid of mistakes. I was afraid of failure. And I was afraid how they see me, how others see me. Do I look successful? Do I look capable? Do I look, happy in a way. So, but I don't really care about that anymore. No, I try my best. I try to be better than yesterday. So I don't compare myself to others. I try not to. So that's that. Yeah. Failures, I'm not afraid as much.
Have you done any crazy things in your life?
Crazy things. What?
Have you done any recent crazy things, or maybe in the past, long time ago?
What are the crazy things? I don't know. I love traveling. So I used to backpack alone in Europe and in the States as well. I don't know if it's crazy, but yeah, I was backpacking in Europe for weeks. And sometimes I was on the train with a guy with a gun, and he was showing off his gun to me, and nothing happened. But that kind of thing, I think I was kind of wild in a way for a woman, for a girl.
For wanting to go out there and travel the world.
Yeah.
So this pandemic must be driving you crazy.
I know. I never realized that because, we are all in this together. So I couldn't really complain. But now I'm going to Munich in 3 weeks.
I'm sure you're thrilled.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'm on the plane. I'm on the plane. It's really, really exciting, I think.
And you get to pack your suitcase again.
Yes. Pack, unpack, hotels, new people.
Yeah. I think that I can't even imagine what would be that moment when you step onto a plane after so long. It's like it feels strange and yet familiar.
I know. And the good thing is that I get the shot vaccination before I go to Munich. So that's a good thing. And I'm going to Munich, and I think I'm going to Dublin to meet my friend who lives there. So I'm very, very excited about that.
I'm happy for you. Finally.
Thank you.
Get to go to plane.
Yes, thank you. Finally.
Okay, so I want to get deeper into who Yuka is. So I want to ask you this other thing is can you name someone who has had a tremendous impact on you?
The first character which had a big influence on me was the Anne from Anne of Green Gables, the book. I really loved her. And I read the books about Anne when I was in high school. And I was really, really impressed. I was very moved. And I was fascinated with the translation, actually. I read the books in Japanese, and the Japanese translation was just wonderful. So that's when I was very interested in English and Japanese and translations. So that's when I decided to study English in university. So that was the first influence I had from others, I think.
I love that book too, but I read it in English.
Right. And of course, I read all of them in English and Japanese, and I was like, wow, how the translator could come up with these expressions. Yeah, that kind of thing. So Anne of Green Gables was the first impact. And also after I started my study at university, I met this professor, female professor, who was a A-level translator. And she did translations for prime ministers or presidents, like Bill Clinton, and international conferences. So she was always flying, and she was such a charming, intelligent, energetic person. And she taught me a lot. But she passed away about a few years ago. But I have a very good, I had a very good relationship, and I have great memories with her. And I sometimes remember her and I wonder what she would say to me now.
What do you think she'll say to you now? Since you mentioned it,
I know. I think she's gonna say, "You can do better than that. You can do a lot more." That's what she would say. I mean, you are doing great, but I'm sure you can do better.
Yes,
That's
I think that is also what I feel, that I'm sure you're gonna do a lot more. Not that you're doing any less.
Right,
you're gonna do a lot more.
I try.
Okay, so now we're almost at the top of the hour. So I just wanted to ask you that one final question.
Sure.
What's that one final key takeaway that you want people who are listening to our episode to remember? Whether it's about Yuka, about your business, about what you believe.
Yeah. Right. Before I started my own business, I don't think I could enjoy the process. But now I can. And I think it's because it takes time to achieve something. It's not like I have achieved something, but it's an ongoing journey, and towards your mission, towards your company's vision, it never ends. So unless you can enjoy the process of going towards your goal, you can never continue. So I realized and I learned how to enjoy, even if it's a failure, even if it's a mistake, even if you struggle, even if it doesn't go well. I try to enjoy as much as I can, so that I can keep going. And that was something I learned through running my own business.
Did you not enjoy the process before that?
I was impatient, and I wanted the results. I wanted the outcome very quickly, right? But when you do your business, it doesn't work like that. To get the result you want, you have to work really, really hard. And sometimes it doesn't work out. But sometimes you pivot, like as I did with my business. Sometimes you find something different, right? But if you don't pay close attention to the process, you miss those opportunities, I think. So what's the main takeaway from my own experiences as an entrepreneur? I think the process is something we have to pay attention to, I think, because people pay attention to the result or success or the output, but there are a lot of efforts, sweats, tears along the way, and as long as you can enjoy those, I think you're going to be successful in your own right.
That's a wonderful piece of advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, because for me, I personally think that is also true. Because if you don't enjoy it, then everything is just about the outcome.
Yeah.
But if everything is just about the outcome, then it can be quite meaningless, because we're always chasing the numbers, right?
Yeah.
It's about the bigger number, the bigger goal, bigger thing out there. Yeah. So I think that's a really good reminder as we go on our journey, whether we're as entrepreneurs in business, as co-founders, as founders.
Right.
The process is always part of that experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think rewards are not always like financial ones, or rewards are not like sometimes it's not numbers, right? Sometimes experiences you have, sometimes relationships, or sometimes people you meet.
Yeah.
All these experiences can be rewarding. So I try to enjoy those.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for a wonderfully, I would say, very enlightening, because
Thank
I
you.
didn't know it would go this way, because I know a little bit of your story, but I didn't know the entire part of it, which is why I think part of the beauty of a podcast is that I know of you. I know you a little bit, but as we get into the conversation, more and more things come out, which is just a discovery.
Yes,
All the
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the podcast. And where can people find you if you want to connect with you?
Oh, okay. They can Google CURIO Japan, CURIO. It came from curiosity, CURIO Japan. Or they can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yep.
Yuka.
Or Facebook.
Imanishi.
Yuka Imanishi, yes.
Yes. So thank you once more, Yuka. It has been such a pleasure interviewing you, such a pleasure talking about your life and learning from you, and knowing that you're just like, wow, you work with superstars. Which is like that 6 degree of separation thing.
Right,
I know
right.
someone who used to work with someone who's like J-Lo. Or,
J-Lo. I love her. She's a nice person.
Mariah.
Yeah, Mariah, I'm not sure.
J-Lo, yes, J-Lo.
J-Lo, yes.
So thank you once more for being a great guest. Yeah. And
thank you.
Hope to see you real soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode. You can find all the links and show notes on our website, womenpreneurasia.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. If you're sharing this on your social media, please use the hashtag WomenpreneurAsia. In next week's episode, I'll be speaking to Helen Tan of Blanc Designs in Malaysia. From swimming with sharks and admiring the sharks' shimmery silver hues, to explaining how she used Japanese wood print ukiyo-e in her client's landscape project, Helen is someone who loves art and wants to see art in every home and office, and preferably in 3D. She's an artist at heart, but even artists need to balance between art and business, and she's doing this rather well in her business. She admits that her company isn't just about interior design. It's a fusion of architecture, exhibition, furniture, art installation, branding, video art, direction, and more. Join me as we get into Helen's story and business next week.